Here with Bikini Beans is different, as it involves a man actually pulling up to the drive-thru in the middle of what appears to be a full-blown gooning and edging session.
Hi, how are you? Good. Have you been here before?
Yeah.
Sir.
He immediately stopped.
Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Call 911.
Yo, it doesn't go underrated how fast he did the drive off. Yo. And in today's video, we have when gooning ruins your life. So, you know, this is a topic we've brought up to the channel multiple times. And some of you guys may not know what gooning is, you know? And so today we're all gonna find out what gooning is and how it can ruin your life.
Yeah, we all know that gooning can become addictive, bro. You can lose your girlfriend, you can lose your wife, you can lose it all.
Let's see.
A gooner is someone who has completely lost themselves to their own horniness. A mindless, hedonistic dopamine fiend that lives only to edge, only to goon. Gooning, as it should, has something of a negative connotation associated with it. After all, if every waking hour of your day is spent in a lustful haze searching for the next nut, you're bound to run into trouble. And in fact, many people have gotten into some deep shit because of their gooning addictions.
One of my favorite internet peeps.
See? We ended up going on your algorithm now.
Yes, sir.
A court judge caught with their pants down, bricked up policemen getting busted, and salacious students getting exposed, today we'll be looking at various cases of how gooning can ruin your life. The Gooner Police Officer. If you've ever been to any corn websites, you've encountered the trope of the horny cop. A fictional scenario where a cop pulls over a rather conveniently aroused woman, maybe she offers to blow the guy to get out of a ticket. We all know the trope. Now, while I'm sure something like this has happened in the real world, all the people in these videos are adult entertainers, and nobody is actually getting pulled over and is a cop.
Yeah, okay.
Well, with the exception of this one instance. I'd like to introduce you to the Gooner cop, Sean Herman. This bricked-up law enforcement officer was so terminally titulated that he participated in one of
guy or plumber.
Facts. I'm more aware of those. The horny pizza guy. Oh my God. I can give you more than just this pizza.
These horny cop style videos. But he was actually a cop and was actually on the clock when he did it.
Told you you were going too fast. Nobody listens to me.
I'm not gonna get a ticket.
How do you think that you're gonna get a ticket?
I'm gonna show my.
No, you're not.
Watch me. Just watch.
Good evening, ma'am. I'm Officer Jones, MPD.
In May of 2024, numerous media outlets came forward alleging a Nashville police officer by the name of Sean Herman had appeared in a sexually explicit video online. A video published by an OnlyFans model.
Wow.
Really giving my city a great name, Herman.
They actually made a video.
If Sean was doing all of this in his free
crazy.
time, perhaps it wouldn't have been a problem. But Pee Wee Herman here was fucking around on the job. A report from News Channel 5 Nashville dove into Sean's history and exposed his illicit gooning misadventures. The article details Herman had been featured prominently alongside a large-chested OnlyFans model named Jordan, with the officer reportedly groping her breasts in a sexual manner while dressed in a Nashville PD uniform. And my tax dollars paid for all of it.
Kid from Home Alone.
Good evening, ma'am. I'm Officer Jones, MPD.
You're funny.
You know what I pulled you over?
No.
All right, well, I got you going 65 and I'm 45 back there, okay? Do you have your license or registration on you?
I actually don't have it in this car, but what if I show you?
And she pulls her girls out and he grabs and rubs on them and she gets out of the ticket, is how the rest of that goes. It's a classic setup. Folks online angry with the video potentially having an on-duty cop managed to ascertain where the deputy feature worked after Sean accidentally showed part of the Nashville Police Department logo when part of his shoulder popped into frame. His squad car was also briefly shown in the video as well. People called Nashville PD and asked them to investigate this potential Class A gooning incident.
If you look closely on the top right-hand corner, you'll see the officer's shoulder, and just a sliver of what appears to be the Metro Nashville police patch.
Sean got to stop and frisk an OF model, but with misconduct allegations coming to the surface, the man soon found his body of work facing a hands-on investigation. After being identified as the booba-grabbing policeman, Herman was subsequently investigated and fired, ending his 3-year stint as an officer. In response, a police
Your whole
representative
career
named Don
ended
Aaron
over a
stated,
video.
"That was one of the most outrageous, disrespectful acts that a person here could do. By disrespectful, I mean to all the Metro Nashville Police Department employees and this agency," unquote. Don was probably just mad he didn't get a handful. While most focused on Sean's firing around this time, there were some online curious to know what Jordan, the OnlyFans chick, thought about this situation and how the infamous video came to be in the first place. These questions would be answered when Outkick, a sports-oriented news outlet, decided to interview the woman over direct messages. When asked about how this came to be, she said, "I met the officer a while back in person for a few moments, and one day he saw me on Reddit and reached out about potentially filming a full video at some point in the future. Obviously, we've all wondered if flashing cops would get you out of tickets, right? Every guy/girl has joked about it, so I thought it'd be funny/playful." The OnlyFans content creator elaborated that the clip was only filmed as a promotional stunt in an effort to boost her popularity, with it only ever being posted to her Twitter and Reddit accounts. She made it clear that there wasn't a longer cut of it as many assumed, because, you know, there was like a fuckload of people looking for this video. Missed opportunity, I guess. Jordan continued more, saying that she hadn't expected for anyone to piece together where Sean worked and felt bad about what had happened. The well-endowed model also said that in light of Sean's firing, she had given the Gooner cop a month's worth of salary as a show of good faith, adding that she thought he would do well in the adult film industry. I'm sure that's the last thing bro wanted to hear at the time. And things only got worse for Sean Herman, as the Nashville Police Department made a statement giving an update on the matter at a later date, confirming that the Gooning incident would in fact be a criminal matter. In the statement, Nashville PD confirmed that Herman had not just been in uniform at the time of the video's filming, but was actually on duty during the groping. Because of this, he was arrested on felony charges of misconduct, with his bond being set at $3,000. Later in August, News Channel 5 Nashville once again reported on the absurd case and gave final details surrounding the resolution of this whole ordeal. In their article, they revealed Herman had posted bail and managed to avoid serious jail time, though his police certification was suspended. Because of his participation in this brain-dead Gooner stunt, Sean Herman's police career is most likely over, if not extremely damaged. When participating in an OF model's promotional video as an on-duty policeman gets you fired, it's a great example of how Gooning can ruin your life. Something else that could just as easily ruin your life is having your identity stolen. As you're watching this video right now, your full name, email, phone number, home address, and date of birth are likely floating around on the web, and you have data brokers to thank for that. Data brokers operate online.
You won't catch me with an ad, brother. Get your money. Y'all go ahead, check out our sponsor, Factor. You know what I'm saying? Easy, ready, cook meals, brothers.
Package. All you gotta do is put that thing in the market.
Tragically ends your life in what has become the ultimate cautionary tale showcasing the darker elements of Gooning. Next, I'll be telling the harrowing tale of the Goonicide. When a man is caught on camera Gooning in public, the online backlash becomes too much to bear. The story of the Goonicide all begins on January 8th, 2025 in the drive-thru of a Bikini Beans location in Tempe, Arizona. For those unfamiliar with the establishment, Bikini Beans is a chain of coffee shops with a gimmick similar to Hooters or Twin Peaks. Think mostly young female staff dressing up in revealing outfits, cleavage showing, cheeks peeking out, you know. They serve coffee wearing bikinis.
Can we get one of these in Nashville?
Now, as you might expect, with an establishment like this, it's a hot spot for gooners, and some of them try to take advantage of the fact that half-naked women are in abundance and are being paid to serve you. Creeps have been a problem in this industry for years, with many notable cases of Hooters waitresses getting groped and sexually assaulted by handsy clients.
Never been
But the
to a
case here
Hooters.
with Bikini Beans
Me
is
either.
different, as it involves a man actually pulling up to the drive-thru in the middle of what appears to be a full-blown gooning and edging session.
Hi, how are you? Good. Have you been here before?
Yeah.
Sir.
He
you
immediately
leave.
stopped.
Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Call 911.
Yo, it doesn't go underrated how fast he did the drive off. He turned from
Pulling up with his dick and
What?
balls on display, this
That nigga is
diabolical
swift.
drive-thru degenerate indecently exposed himself to this woman. For sexual gratification, to satisfy a twisted kink, whatever the case, she caught him on camera doing so. Realizing this, his smugly cheerful expression is rattled to one of intense
What?
fear. Being caught red-handed, he sped off, regret
Oh my
hitting him
God.
like a
That boy
sobering
went from
rush
looking
of
like he was about
post-nut
to
clarity.
rizz up.
And sadly,
Oh,
this
shit.
wouldn't be the end of the
Let me get the
humiliation
fuck outta
for
here
the
before she
Bikini
get my
Beans
my
gooner.
license
The video
plate.
filmed by the employee was soon posted online and went viral due to its shocking and
Look,
baffling
that's the
premise.
rizz up.
Tweets discussing it garnered tens of thousands of
fuck
likes,
man
and
is
for
this?
about a week, this video
Yo.
seemed like all anybody was trying to talk about online. In many ways,
Attica,
the incident brought
man.
the word
Fuck.
gooning itself to the mainstream, and the man in the video became a symbol for the gooner lifestyle, if it were. You know, just fully embracing one's hedonistic desires and letting those primal urges take over, no matter the
What?
consequence. It was a humorous
That's
little
what he
viral
symbolized.
moment, but questions remain. Who actually was this now infamous pantsless individual, and what happened to him? Well, the answer to that question was more tragic than anybody could have expected. On January 13th, 2025, just 2 days after the Bikini Beans Gooner video was initially posted, a screenshot from a local Facebook group surfaced, claiming that the man featured in the video had actually offed himself after being caught and exposed for gooning in public. And this was no baseless meme or rumor, it was actually true, and police had become involved. As it turns out, the man was a 27-year-old named Nautica Malone, and he surprisingly had a wife and family. A TMZ
What?
report gives greater detail on the timeline of events. The report claims on January 8th, Malone had pulled up pantsless
They
to the
did
drive-thru
say
at
in-house
Bikini
pussy
Beans.
is harder
An
to
employee
get.
suspicious of the nudity told a manager. Staff alleged
I
that
mean, when
Malone
she's
had even
married,
begun
yeah, she feels like
masturbating
she has
inside of
it
his
up for you.
vehicle. So it seems
What?
like they kind of knew something was up beforehand, which explains the filming. As far as I'm aware, the first instance of the video itself being posted to the web was on January 10th. And according to reports, on January 11th, Nautica Malone drove to the city of Avondale, Arizona, and took his own life by gunshot to the head. Malone would later be found dead in his vehicle, which was parked in the lot of the Tullison Crossroads shopping plaza. Police body cam footage shows deputies investigating the aftermath.
Sir, please just stay over there.
Keep an eye on him. I'm gonna check for a pulse. It's already cocked back, so it looked like it only had one bullet. Yeah. Okay. Hey man. It's cocked back and just leave like that in there. They got no pulse.
According to TMZ, Nautica Malone's brother had received a distressing call from him earlier in the day. Additionally, a note authored by Nautica shortly before his death was also discovered. It was to his wife. Quote, "I apologize. I love you, Queen. I made a mistake and don't think I'll be able to face you and the babies. I don't know why I drove through like that. My mental has been fucked up. I'm not a monster. I apologize and I love you forever. If I am in critical condition, please pull the plug." The news of Nautica Malone's death broke the internet. Many mourned the man's passing, though considering the circumstances leading up to his demise, it should come at no surprise that gallows humor was rampant, with many internet users referring to Nautica's Malone's death
was one of them.
as
I'm
a
sorry.
goonicide. And if I'm being honest, while it is extremely tragic and saddening, I can't be too upset at people for joking about what happened here. You know, considering the whole pulling up with your stuff out to a place with half-naked chicks working there. Ben Lyles, the owner of Bikini Beans, certainly wasn't afraid of standing up for his employees, even in the wake of the sad news. He told TMZ this: "This was an unfortunate and tragic situation. In this case, an individual chose to commit a crime at one of our locations. We take incidents like this very seriously and remain committed to protecting our team and maintaining a safe and respectful environment. The story of the Goonicide does have somewhat of a positive ending environment. The story of the Goonicide does have a Gooning hotline? Positive ending, at least as positive of an ending you could hope for in a twisted story like this. Towards the end of January, it was announced that internet users and fans of the originally shared viral video would be holding an impromptu funeral-style remembrance event for Nautica Malone outside of the Bikini Beans coffee shop where this all transpired, dubbing it the Gooneral. While some protested against the idea, characterizing Malone as a sexual criminal, it seemed like at this point, after everything that had transpired, most felt Nautica Malone had paid enough penance for the drive-through debauchery that contributed to the ending of his life.
When I say his name, you say Nautica. Say his name! Nautica! Say his name! Nautica! Nautica!
The Gooneral had dozens in attendance, each paying their respects to Mr. Malone, closing the chapter on the Goonicide, the ultimate cautionary tale of the dangers of reckless gooning and what it can lead to.
Yeah.
The library gooners. In the era of OnlyFans, you often see women posting online these provocative publicity stunts to social media, attempting to draw people into subscribing to their pages so you can see more. They'll often dress up in costumes and they'll have paid promoters in the replies of their posts on Twitter and other sites being like, bruh, have you seen the Starbucks girl video? Have you seen the Spider-Man girl video? Or, you know, they'll just post stuff like the cop video we discussed earlier. It's obnoxious, but believe it or not, before OnlyFans, this stuff was even more egregious and at times illegal. Which brings us to the case of Library Girl, a woman who gooned in a public library for attention, only to be later put in handcuffs, and not ones for like BDSM roleplay. Late January 2015,
she got locked
there
up.
was a gooner on the loose. Witnesses were coming forward, claiming that someone had allegedly filmed a sexually explicit video in a college library. News outlet The Oregonian reported that the offending video was recorded at Oregon State University. All of this transpiring during the fall semester. The public scrambled to identify the perpetrator. Upon the discovery of this rogue gooner at large, police got involved. While they likely expected the culprit to have been some homeless crackhead that was using public library Wi-Fi to jerk off, they were surprised to find it was actually a young female student named Kendra Jane Sunderland. According to Oregon State University, she was a 19-year-old Salem, Washington native who had been studying human development and family science at their school. Kendra was also an aspiring adult film star. She recorded herself in an isolated area of the library, covertly gooning for approximately 30 minutes, and was apparently live streaming her performance to a small audience on an internet campsite. The video features the woman slowly undressing herself while sitting at a library desk, showing her chest and at one point taking off her pants, exposing and touching her cucaracha. Throughout the recording, she constantly looks over her shoulder to see if anyone was coming, but it turns out only she was. The scandalous study session turned sex act concludes with Kendra getting up and walking away from the scene of the goon, as if nothing ever happened. But her live-streamed video left a snail trail of guilt that couldn't be wiped clean. As you and I both know, the internet is forever. The library stream was recorded, shared, and quickly went viral, with the university obviously getting outraged that their prestigious reputation was now affiliated with a potential sex criminal. Kendra would be vigorously probed by police officers after they watched her video. Their investigation led to her eventually being detained. As a result
what's
of
with
her
that word choices, bro? Probed? You're painting a different kind of picture here.
library rubdown, Kendra Sunderland was arrested and was facing over $6,000 in fines and jail time for public indecency. Local news outlet KOIN actually went to the now infamous deviant's home to discuss what had happened with her, but were met with a note on the door stating that she was refusing to talk. Unable to enter the Gooner's lair, they then went to interview Steve Clark, an OSU official who strongly condemned Kendra's behavior.
This was public indecency. what you saw in the video, or hopefully your viewers did not see, were acts by an individual that were indecent and conducted in public.
Steve reveals towards the end of the report that the woman was banned from campus indefinitely. If she had any hopes of graduating college, this situation certainly didn't help things in that regard. But as you might expect, given the creation of this video in the first place, her head was in a different spot career-wise. Despite many online calling her a whore, slut, all the above, you gotta remember there's always gonna be a subset of gooners out there eager to simp. And Kendra's spicy video made her a hot commodity with these guys. While the woman had refused to make public statements initially, she eventually would come to a realization, that being, oh, I can turn this degenerate controversy into an online sex work career.
The stream is
Many
lagging
such
really
cases.
hard on my end at the
Kendra
moment.
embraced the video and was even seen signing autographs for a fan outside of her first court hearing after pleading not guilty to her charges.
Is it still lagging? I think it's
she
kick,
fully
bro.
defended her actions.
I think it's normal for a college campus. It's, you know, college kids, they go crazy, they party, they do fun things and experiment. I think it's, you know, it's not really big news. I think it's more shocking to other people not on campus than it is for the people on campus.
Those following the library Gooner Girl case would get more reflection from Kendra when she did a full 22-minute long interview with ABC News affiliate KEZI9. She claimed she had no intention of the video going viral when doing the stream, which I honestly believe because outside of Mia Khalifa's hijab thing, this was sort of a first of its kind moment. I think she kind of just stumbled into this.
How have you been since, I mean, for the last couple of months? How have you been feeling?
It changes every day, but at first I was just upset and sad and stuff like that, and now it's more excited for my future and everything that I have coming to me, so it's just a giant mix of emotions.
Not the IT guy
that goes up and
033
down all the
says
time, but that's
it's
just
like the audio is out of sync.
Was this something that you knew you always wanted to do?
Not the IT guy
this is something that's
033
always
says,
been in the back
and
of
you're
my
frozen.
mind that I would dream about, but I pushed
God.
it away because I was always told, you know, you're supposed to go to college, get a degree, and get a good job with your degree, but I thought I didn't want to go that route. I always wanted to be a model.
What is going
I
on
wanted to model for
here?
Playboy and Penthouse and stuff like that, and I just never actually thought it would happen because I knew that there's a lot of girls that try so hard to get into it, and it's very hard for them to, you know, find the door and to get them into it.
So what would be the life-ruining punishment
Is it
issued
a
by
little
the
better
courts
now?
as a consequence for the library girl video? In September, Kendra pled guilty to a misdemeanor charge and had to pay a $1,000 fine. Yeah. Kendra's gooning didn't ruin her life at all. Rather, it made it better in just about every way imaginable. An unfortunate exception to the rule. The publicity surrounding Kendra's videos served as a launching pad for an extremely successful career as an adult star, with Kendra still being popular in the industry to this very day. She has millions of followers across various platforms and still refers to herself as Library Girl almost a decade after the incident. She's pretty much stayed out of trouble
Maddie,
since the
how do you
video
fix when it
debacle,
says your
with the
encoder is
exception of a
overloaded, bro?
recent arrest related to an alleged marijuana possession charge, but who really gives a shit? Illegal gooning arguably made this woman a multi-millionaire, but she got lucky as another library gooner wasn't so fortunate. It all begins with mysterious reports of a young woman playing with herself live on camera from what appeared to be a public library. CBC News was made aware of this potential Kendra copycat and launched an independent investigation. They alleged the woman went by the scream name Lil Secret and operated on the adult streaming site MyFreeCams. Her location was discovered after CBC cross-referenced images of the library with the footage captured during her live streams. Windsor Public Library was that location. There's actually a moment in one of these recordings where a child can be seen stumbling upon this woman, which is extremely disturbing to say the least. She allegedly hit other libraries in the area and even reportedly gooned inside of a Tim Hortons. While her identity was a secret at first, the CBC unmasked her, exposing her as 21-year-old Alexandria Mora. The woman turned herself into police soon after being exposed by the media. While she initially planned to plead not guilty, it seems she eventually gave up her defense and took accountability for her gooning behavior. In June, news outlet Windsor Star revealed that the woman had been given 12 months of probation and had to pay a $250 fine. This was on top of the fact that she now had to register as a sex offender. When questioned, her lawyer Patrick Ducarme said she dealt with it, she admitted it, she identified herself to police. She suffered a lot of public embarrassment because it truly did go viral. Yet another example of how unregulated gooning can have serious ramifications. Anthony Weiner, the Gooner politician. Politicians being weird sex pests is nothing new. You might even be tempted to say that allocating a chapter telling the story of a Gooner politician is redundant or passé. Well, my rebuttal, Anthony Weiner. Anthony was a terminally bricked up Gooner politician whose surname just so also happened to be his favorite body part. Sadly, the guy with the Wiener name was actually quite the degenerate, and through a series of sexting scandals, illicit gooning, and extremely disturbing activity, Wiener destroyed his career in historically degenerate fashion.
Let me just reiterate to my wife how sorry I am that I did these things, and how sorry I am to the people that got these messages for any inconvenience or embarrassment they've caused.
Anthony David Weiner, a Brooklyn native, first entered political office in 1999, elected as Democratic congressman for New York's 9th District. Mr. Weiner erected legislation to support New York's working class and penetrated party lines to pass bills that helped who he described as America's underdogs. As a young politician, he was groomed by Chuck Schumer and went on to spend a great deal of his tenure working to improve public housing, cleaning up New York, and stopping crime. As a matter of fact, Anthony had a team of at-risk teenagers commissioned to remove graffiti around the city that he proudly referred to as Weiner's Cleaners. While all of this is admirable, I think what's even more impressive is that Anthony made it this far in life, essentially with the last name Penis. I'd imagine the childhood bullying incurred from having a phallic last name like this would doom a lesser individual. But Weiner grabbed life by the balls and became successful despite his family curse. Though Mr. Weiner was not without his flaws. See, Tony had a bit of a gooning problem. On May 27, 2011, as President Obama was in the White House signing an extension to the Patriot Act, Anthony Weiner uploaded a truly bizarre photo to his Twitter. It was a crotch shot of a seemingly bricked up white guy in some boxer briefs, and the post was reportedly directed to the account of a 21-year-old Washington University student named Jeanette Cordova. The baffling photo was up only very briefly and was quickly deleted, though some people did see it. In the wake of the post, Anthony took to social media, trying to laugh it off, saying that he had been hacked or that someone was playing some sort of prank on him.
A photo of an anonymous man's bulging underwear. The lewd picture, immediately deleted from Weiner's account, was sent to this 21-year-old Seattle college student, but also available to the public to view on Twitter.
Not the IT
Outside
guy,
his New York home Monday, Weiner, an outspoken liberal Democrat, insisted to CNN it was the work of a hacker.
I was hacked. It happens to people. We move on. This is a prank, not a terribly creative one, and it's a distraction. Look, you know, you've got the Republicans who are playing games with the debt limit. You've got a Supreme Court justice who is refusing to recuse himself despite conflicts of interest. You have a Health Care Act that is under siege. This is a distraction.
But we all know what happened. Anthony got sloppy in the middle of a gooning session and accidentally shared an image of his cock and balls that he meant to send to one of his kittens privately. While this photo wasn't all too crazy, it was only the tip of the iceberg. Journalists began digging into Anthony's activity, not buying his prank excuse. And what they would find was truly unhinged. Anthony, a married man, was gooning and sexting chats with multiple young college-age mistresses, sharing scandalous photo after photo after photo, some of which are way too spicy for YouTube.
Not the IT
in the
guy
wake of these leaked
033
photos, many of which included
OSU
his face in
library
them,
chick, and it was
Anthony
real.
finally came
Closed out of that
clean,
tab real
admitting
quick.
he had been engaging in sexting chats with what has
Closed out
been
of that
described
tab real
as
quick.
half a dozen women.
Real talk, Maddie.
In addition, over
Yeah,
the
get
past
caught
few
up in
years,
that
I've
gooning
engaged in
lifestyle.
several inappropriate
Shit.
conversations conducted over Twitter, Facebook, email, and occasionally on the phone with women I have met online. I've exchanged messages and photos of an explicit nature with about 6 women over the last 3 years. For For the most part, these communications took place before my marriage, though some have sadly took place after. To be clear, I have never met any of these women or had physical relationships at any time. I haven't told the truth, and I've done things I deeply regret.
With the smoking gun out there and mounting pressure from Democratic colleagues, Mr. Weiner would resign from his position in Congress in what had become one of the most humiliating political scandals of the 21st century.
I'm here today to again apologize for the personal mistakes I have made and the embarrassment I have caused. I make this apology to my neighbors and my constituents, but I make it particularly to my wife, Huma. I had hoped to be able to continue the work that the citizens of my district elected me to do. And most importantly, that my wife and I can continue to heal from the damage I have caused.
I mean, Tony, you're the Weiner guy. You can't get busted for something like this, man. Extortion, blackmail, take a bribe for Christ's sake, but sex stuff, your name is Weiner. You just can't do it. Bro was cooked from the start.
Unfortunately, the distraction that I have created has made that impossible. So today I am announcing my resignation from Congress.
Anthony's resignation is likely where you would expect this story to end. But this Weiner was simply built different. When the fallout settled from the sexting scandal, Anthony actually tried to run for office again, this time setting his sights on becoming the mayor of New York City in the 2013 race. Now, surprisingly, at first, this wasn't a complete disaster. Tony promised that he was a changed man. Aside from the scandal, Anthony was actually well-liked when he was a representative. And since some time had passed since that scandal, Anthony by this point.
I'm glad these things are behind us. I know that this was a very public thing that we had happen to us, but by no means does it change the fundamentals of my feelings here, and that is that I want to bring my vision to the people of the city of New York. I hope they're willing to still continue to give me a second chance.
Weiner made numerous public apologies, and his wife, who remarkably stayed with him throughout all of this, spoke highly of her husband. And it seemed like whatever demons Anthony had were now exorcised, and he was prepared to get back to business and take New York to new heights.
Our marriage, like many others, has had its ups and its downs. It took a lot of work.
His wife don't even believe in him.
And a whole lot of therapy to get to a place where I could forgive Anthony.
Unfortunately for Anthony, though, his past would come back to haunt him. When news of Anthony running for mayor became widely known, old ops started coming out of the woodwork with new unseen leaked photos alleging that Anthony had actually been continuing his sexting and gooning with women that weren't his wife. Doing so after he had been exposed last time in 2011, so like he was still at it. In June, an online gossip website called The Dirty released evidence suggesting Anthony had been recklessly sexting more women in 2012, sharing a never-before-seen image of a fully torqued up pecker that Anthony would eventually admit was in fact his.
Standing by her husband's side, wife Huma Abedin broke her silence, speaking out for the first time.
Anthony's made some horrible mistakes.
She wanted to laugh in his face.
Congress and after.
Horrible mistakes, and she threw to
but I
smack that
do very
aside.
strongly believe that it is between us.
Despite the new leaks, Tony's wife continued to support him, but the public had seen enough. Weiner's mayoral campaign flopped after these new allegations and images came to light, and he ultimately conceded the race to the opposition.
And I am waging this campaign on a bet. And the bet is, at the end of the day, citizens care more about their own future than about my past with my wife and my embarrassing things.
So far, that bet isn't paying off.
You begin to see that this guy genuinely has a gooning problem, and it's at this part of the story that things actually start to get pretty dark and extremely perverse. Several years later, in 2016, Anthony Weiner would be back once again in the media, facing a third round of embarrassing sexual misconduct allegations. This time, though, a potential criminal element was at play. Weiner had been caught sexting once again. Leaks began dropping left and right, most of which included various post-workout thirst traps, though this round had far more explicit leaks than any before. And the most egregious of these photos? Weiner had sent a picture of himself in his underwear with his infant son swaddled up napping next to him in the picture. While neither were nude or anything, it was still extremely creepy, inappropriate, and weird. This disturbing photo unsurprisingly had many calling for Weiner to be criminally investigated. Like, was there a child abuse element at play here? What was going on? The discovery of this image and continued sexting with other women proved too much for Anthony's ever loyal wife to bear this time.
We've reached the 30-minute mark of our videos, man. This guy had a very interesting take. As you've seen, we actually spent a good amount of time just watching. Like, we were just like, yo, we watching. Feel me? You know, usually we have our little take, sound effects, music, but we didn't need none of that, man. We just, you know, showed you how gooning is ruining politicians to goddamn regular niggas like Nautica. Everybody falls victim when you goon, when you indulge too much into this whole touching your meat stick. You know what I'm saying? Put it down. Pick up a book. Go pick up a skill. Shit. You're wrong.
Yeah, like I said before with addiction, man, the best thing to do is just not to start in the first place, because we as humans, we identify with patterns, bro. So once you do something, now every day at the same time, you're going to want to do it again. So y'all boys, just give it up while you can, man.
Real talk. You reached the end of another video, man. You already know, man. We love y'all. We're grateful for y'all, man. We can't do none of this without y'all. You know what I'm saying? If you enjoyed this video, binge the rest, you know what I'm saying? Comment something below. Comment something below. Before you binge the rest of the video, go ahead, comment something. Did you just find out how down bad these men were? And what do you feel about gooning, bro? We reading all the comments. Check y'all in the next one. We out.